Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's week 9 in the NFL. We are doing a regular series of calls with Doug Upstone, SBR contributor, notable, well-known professional handicapper, and this is the false favorites and top underdog segment. Doug Upstone, how did you do last week in this segment?
Peter, I went 1-2, not 1-2, not so hot, but I'm still 15-9 for the season. And actually, at the Sports Watch monitor, where I put one of the places where I have my picks monitored, I'm 19-9 overall for the season. So really off to a very good year, and hanging in there well.
There you go. Well, our long-term viewers know what you're all about, know that this is par for the course for you. Great results with us long-term in the NFL. What's your first top underdog or false favorite for NFL Week 9?
We're going to go with a false favorite right at the top, Peter, and it's going to be on the New York Giants. Now, it's really difficult in the NFL to score 49 points and lose a game, but the New York Giants found a way to do that. And with their defense, they have no pass rush. Their secondary is injury-riddled, and they were burned for 511 yards passing last week, which takes them now to be the worst pass defense in the NFL. Tampa Bay, who I was on last week, they got another cover last week and an outright upset at Atlanta, even though it was close. And they should be on a 3-game winning streak and cover streak, except for blowing it against Washington. But I think this team has a lot of confidence coming back home, and I think they're going to play a really good game. Now, I really like the way Jameis Winston has come along as a rookie. He is now using the check down more. He's not making as many bad decisions as he did, the first couple of games. And I think this team is extremely confident coming in this game. I look at the New York Giants, and they are 1-10 against the spread after allowing 30 or more points in the last game, the last 3 years. I say the Bucs outright, and the Giants are a false favorite.
All right, Doug. This is one of the games that I was very confused by, had no opinion at all as of yet, was thinking it was going to be a big pass. You've got me kind of sold, though, on Tampa Bay. I certainly can see your point. What's your second false favorite or top dog for NFL Week 9, Doug?
My second is a false favorite and is on the Green Bay Packers this week. Now, it was on display for the world to see last week. The Green Bay Packers going up against a team that likes to play power football, they struggle against. And each passing week, the absence of Jordy Nelson, I think, really affects them. And they are now down to 27th in passing offense. And they still have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. So there's certainly some problems there, and these receivers are not getting open. And this is something the scouts have noticed in the NFL and talked about, on the different websites and such. So I think they're really in a world of hurt. Now, when you look at Carolina, they are the personification of power football. They love to run the ball, they stick with it, and they really get after it. Green Bay has faced 3 teams this year, Peter, that ran the ball 30 or more times against them. In those games, they gave up 180 yards per game at 5.2 yards per carry. Now, Carolina is number 1 in the NFL in rushing and number 1 in attempts at 35 per game. And I don't think those safeties from Green Bay are going to like to get into that mix and want to tackle these guys when it going gets tough. The Packers are 0-6 against the spread on the road after giving up 400 or more yards. I think they're a false favorite in Charlotte this week.
Yeah, this is one of the most interesting games, in recent weeks in the NFL. It's obviously a big bounce-back spot for Green Bay. Elite teams of a high-profile loss usually bounce back pretty strong. My sense is that despite all the very, very valid things you just said, that the factor that it's an elite team off a loss in a big bounce-back spot trumps everything. But you might be right, and Carolina has been wildly underestimated and undervalued this year. You didn't want to be betting against them earlier in the year, maybe not in Week 9 either. All right, what's your third false favorite or top dog for NFL Week 9, Doug?
I got a top dog, Peter, and that's on Monday night with the Chicago Bears. Now, both the Bears and San Diego are too reliant on their quarterbacks, and the biggest reason for that is because the lack of a running game. The Bears are only averaging 3.9 yards per carry, and San Diego is down to 3.4. So that puts all the emphasis on Jay Cutler and Phillip Rivers to throw the ball, and really I think is a big indicator as to why these teams have a combined record of 4-11. Now, both quarterbacks actually are playing better than Andrew Luck when it comes to turnovers, so far this season. But we have seen in many cases over the years, both are very capable of starting to drop the ball or throw interceptions. In spite of all the numbers that Phillip Rivers has been putting up for passing yards, I think in the last 3 games, Jay Cutler is actually playing better. And when I look at the defenses, I see the Bears defense has forced 4 turnovers in the last 3 games, and San Diego a big fat 0 in those same outings. The Bolts giving 4 points to the Chicago Bears, and they have lost 5 games by a touchdown or less. And in their last 18 games, Peter, San Diego is 6-12 and 5-13 against the spread. That's too much for a beleaguered home favorite. I'll take the Bears as a top dog this week.
Doug Upstone, I completely agree with you. I grabbed this number at Bears +4 on the opening line when I saw it. Absolutely in agreement. Doug Upstone, thanks so much. Talk to you again next week for Week 10.